Welcome to Black Fox Elementary and welcome Commissioner Slater. This is Commissioner Cindy Slater. She is our 5th District Commissioner for Bradley County, and she's going to be reading for Read for the Record to our boys and girls, and we're so glad you're here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here today.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, boys and girls. I'm not sure if you've ever read the book Sophia Valdez, Future Prez, but let me tell you something a little special about Sophia. Sophia was inspired by not one person, but many. Some were small, some were tall, some were young, some were old. People from every part of the world, girls, boys, women, and men. People who saw a problem and worked to fix the problem. So we're going to see how Sophia changed the world in our book today. Sophia was a baby who got things done, helping her family before she turned 1. She and Abuelo went out every week to help elderly friends around. No place to gather or stuck home alone. Raking the leaves, taking pets for a walk, or just dropping by for a treat and a talk. Sophia Valdez did as much as she could for her family and friends and her whole neighborhood. A dreamer, a doer, a real-life go-getter. Most people like good, but Sophia liked better. Each morning, Abuelo walked Sophia to class. They walked home again along Blue River Pass, making plans, munching cookies, Abuelo and girl. Except for that Tuesday when Pup saw the squirrel. With a howl, Pup took off, racing all through the town, over, under, beneath, and all around. Sophia scrambled to try to keep up with the howling man and the bellowing Pup. So see, her grandfather's about to fall. Up the squirrel ran to the top of the hill, made of leftover junk for the local landfill. They reached the tip top of that mountain of trash, which jiggled and broke with an ear-splitting crash. Ouch, cried Abuelo. He struggled to stand. A dangerous mess, he said, grasping her hand. The next day, Sophia walked to school solo, but it wasn't the same without her Abuelo. This is not right, declared young Sophia, who glared at Mount Trashmore and got an idea. The very next morning at 6:30 dawn, she planted a sign at the front of her lawn. She stood back and smiled, and Pup gave a bark. And her sign says, "Get rid of Mount Trashmore, let's build a park." Each of her neighbors had something to say about beaches and fountains and places to play, meeting spots, gardens, a basket for bees, a rubber duck pond, and a kiosk for cheese. She drew every thought on her map of the park, which was perfectly perfect by 1/4 till dark. She drifted to sleep in her soft, cozy bed. Then bam! She woke up when a thought smacked her head. Her heart skipped a beat as she realized each one of her neighbors had said, "Let me know when it's done." They all thought Sophia could build it alone, but how could one girl do so much on her own? The weight of that thought made her tender heart ache as night thunder growled and she lay wide awake. Then dawn brought a storm and the gloomy sky wept, and the heart-sick Sophia finally slept. Abuelo baked cookies when Sophia got up. He gave her a bagful and sneaked one to Pup. He blinked like a tear as he hugged his Sophia. "For courage," he whispered. Sophia's knees wobbled. She felt weak inside. She looked at his ankle and quite nearly cried. Though she didn't feel brave or courageous at all, Sophia Valdez went to face City Hall. The mayor's office sent her to room 401. the Blue River Creek Department of Fun, which sent her downstairs to room 302, the Office of Duck Ponds and Cool Things to Do, the Department of Cheese, the Division of Fountains, the Meetings and Bees, then down to the basement so musty and cramped, where all the town's papers were sorted and stamped. And that's where the clerk said what no one else did. You can't build a new park, you're only a kid. The words smacked Sophia deep down in her heart. Her plan was kiboshed before it could start. I think that law's wrong. But her second grade voice didn't sound very strong. The clerk said clearly it cannot be done. Do you have any questions? Sophia said one. If you were me and if I was you and he was your grandpa, what would you do? Well, said the clerk. Then she said nothing at all. She thought and she thought. Then she sent out a call to every employee throughout City Hall. The entire government of Blue River Creek crammed into the office to hear Sophia speak. Her words jumbled up and her cheeks turned bright red as a dozen emotions rushed into her head. Her heart beat so loudly she thought it would crack. The crowd leaned in closer. Sophia leaned back. Then her arm brushed the edge of the old cookie sack. And that was the moment when Sophia first knew being brave means doing the thing you must do. Though your heart cracks with fear, though you're just in grade 2. She took a deep breath, looked the mayor in the eye, and though her knees wobbled, she held her head high. Sophia started talking. She spelled out her plan and why it all mattered and how it began. And once they got rolling, she had lots to say about meeting spots, monkeys, and places to play, and other ideas for things they could do to help the town elders and other folks too. She had thoughts on the library, thoughts on the zoo, and perhaps a way to combine the two. All right, cried the mayor, go start a petition. If the town wants a park, then we will form a commission. And so young Sophia got to work and some help with her family, pup, and the clerk. Then others joined in, not all, but a few, like Miss Lala Greer and the kids in grade 2. There were hearings and surveys and taxes to figure, then bulldozers, cranes, and a blue bigger digger. They all built that park. That's how it got done, with the hard work of everyone. But it began with the dream of one person, just one, who laced up her shoes, then led the way to help Blue River Creek get a new place to play. Now every evening till long after dark, the town comes together at Citizens Park. They all hold this to be self-evident, that Sophia Valdez could grow up to be president. Until then, Sophia, that real-life go-getter, helps Blue River Creek get better and better. So just a reminder, boys and girls, if you think you're only one and you can't do anything, that's not true. It only takes one to change the world.